There are bits that are written down in the handbook, lots of it, the rules around these FFP rules, what's an allowable expense, what isn't, what you can deduct, what the upper threshold is for the losses. A lot of that's written down. So these cases are a bit open and shut. So, to go to your point about are Everton bank to rights, well, yeah, up to a point they are, in the same way that Forest were bank to rights. And it really is an adding up and taking away exercise, and you're either over or you're not. And Everton are over. And they've been over, as I said, twice now. Where the complexity is on these deductions, is on the allowances the league and UEFA, because they've got their own set of rules, made for COVID. There's a lot of wiggle room around mitigation. So, you have your black and white, yes or no, you've spent too much or you haven't. But then you can mitigate. You can sort of say, well, hold on a minute. Well, we did this because of that. And we were trying to build a stadium and there was COVID and we couldn't sell a player. And there was that one player for that very particular reason we couldn't sell, or we did sell him, but we sold him after the deadline because we would have got a bad price before the deadline and we got a better price. So there's lots of that in there, and both Everton and Forest have made these cases. So that's where there's a lot of art going on here as opposed to science. So that's the other thing, the fascinating thing. But what we've seen with these panels, and one panel will almost use the previous ruling as a precedent and go, well, we like that, so we're going to base our ruling on that. We didn't like that so much. We think they might have got that wrong. Everton have already been through one appeal, so they've appealed their first case. And as I said, as you pointed out, it went from 10 to 6, so quite a significant reduction. So that very first case was sort of, I think, has now been shown to have been a bit over the top. And that initial sanction was too much. And I think that's actually caused a lot of the Premier League's problems, this idea that they are going after Everton, they're being unreasonable, they're hounding Everton. I think it was because that first sanction was disproportionate. So lots of this is evolving in sort of front of our eyes. I think we're getting to a better place. I think the last couple of rulings, the Forest ruling, the Everton appeal, and now this one, just seem fairer. They just seem fairer to me. I think if you're neutral, I think they're Evertonians probably just screaming and shouting and what you're talking about. But, I've been talking to a lot of other fans, a lot of other clubs. I've been sort of trying to read what other clubs and fans and people are saying. And I think we are starting to see some guidelines emerge, because that's the other thing to say. Whilst the Premier League wrote a lot of the stuff down, they did not write down sentencing guidelines. They gave the panels an enormous amount of discretion. Again, that was something the clubs asked them to do because they wanted to take each case on its merits. And they didn't want to be too prescriptive.